Hello everyone and welcome back to Every Other Saturday. So in today's video we're going to talk about the 3-2 loss we've just had against St Mirren. Now we kind of made that a wee bit difficult for myself, to be fair, but let's not waste any more time and we'll dive right into the video. Wee quick cheap plug in the channel there. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to give us a wee like, share and subscribe. Be very much appreciated. It helps the channel grow and gets out to as many people as possible. As I say, let's dive into the video.
Every other Saturday's my half day off, and it's off to the match I go. Happily we wander down the Copeland.
So this is the first video I've had to do since I started the channel where I've actually lost, so forgive me for a wee bit down, but there you go, you don't have the same upbeatness when you lose a game just quite like that. So it started off exactly the way I expected it to be. St Mirren they did have that hard to break down attitude, but Rangers did not come out with anywhere near the same playing style that we've had in the last weeks. It was just really difficult to watch, to be honest. And just looking at that midfield, that midfield did not have anywhere near the control that it needed to have a grasp on that game. Now, looking at it from as I've watched the full game now and looking at it now, you can see that midfield basically did not have anything to do with control. If you look at all the stats, yes, we had the lion's share of absolutely everything, and we had the possession, we had the chances, we had all the kind of decisions going that way when it looks at stats, but it just wasn't a performance that I was half expecting to see tonight. It was really disappointing. You can probably hear in my voice, it's not exactly the greatest experience to be doing one of these videos after you've just lost like that, especially in a cup that we were supposed to be guaranteed to win. But take a quick look at the goals. The goals were nice and simple. Connor Goldson gets us 1-0 up. I mean, I don't understand how a man like that can put a shot just quite as well as he did. The ball got to him after that kind of deflection. He made his way through a couple of players, made his way into the box with a beautiful low drive shot right into the bottom corner, and 1-0 after about 7 minutes. Now, that was probably part one of the downfall, to be honest. Not the goal, the goal's fantastic, but starting at that point and realising that we've got this working and we've got the early goal in and it's just going to go the same way as it's been before. It looked to me like their heads just focused down. You can take it as again, looking back from the entire game, Tavernier barely got on that ball and did what he needed to do the way that he has, and when he did get the ball, everything seemed to be, it's not lacklustre from him, I'm not saying that that's what he did, but nothing seemed to get through and finish. And starting Bassey seemed to be the big disappointment tonight because he was at fault for 2 of the goals. Really bad fault, if I'm honest. The first, I didn't think, when it happened, I did not think the penalty was a penalty kick. I really didn't. But looking back on it, you can see there is some form of connection. I mean, could the player have stayed on his feet? Possibly, but it was clumsy from Bassey, it really was. And a deserved penalty to get it back to 1 each. And going behind 2-1, I wasn't exactly pleased when I seen this coming in, and I did think to myself, is this going to be the game? Famous last words, I suppose. But 2-1 going behind, I thought we'd maybe have the drive and desire to bring us through and get to that, but it was 2-1 right at the turn of the half, and we all know that is not the time that we want to be doing these kind of things. We don't want to be getting to the turn of the half and going behind and then trying to chase it, because it clearly put a big dampener on everything. But when we lost that second goal, the amount of heads I seen drop, where has that been this season? Every single part of this season, when a goal has went in, or even if something's going against us, we stay snappy, we stay on it, but that just wasn't there today. Just wasn't there at all. Now, we did see some changes, yes, but Gerrard has said that he's taking responsibility for it, and I can't really honestly say that he's put the wrong team out, right? Because I said in the last video, we have that team and we have that nucleus that you can chop and change and take players in and out, and you don't feel that the quality's going to drop. But tonight it did. It really did. And is it too many daily records? Is it just expecting to go through? Is it hearing the words, oh, this is a guaranteed trophy for you? It's a whole mixture of things, but not turning up, not having control from the midfield to the final third really kind of did disappoint me. The only thing I will say is Itten wasn't on as many end of those chances as he should have been. Zungu seemed to want to be playing backwards most of the time, which disappointed me. And Unfortunately, Bassey had a bit of a nightmare as well, leading to the 2 goals. But I'm not gonna give them fail marks across the board. I'm not being that negative. I'm disappointed in the way that they played. To be honest, I probably wouldn't have thought of starting Bassey, because this is as good as a cup final for us again. Another game we had to win to get through, because looking at the teams that are still in, I thought anyway that St Mirren would probably be our hardest one, specifically with the fact that they were on their own wee run of form. Now that there, again, you could be clutching at straws to figure out exactly why all of these things led up to one poor performance. Now, as depressing and as negative as this video does sound, 27 games at the end of it, guys. 27 games undefeated. So it had to come eventually. Am I disappointed? Yes. I've been made aware that it's not the league. It's not the league. That has to be our focus. Yes, has to be more important. If we drop points in the league, I think I'd be more angry than I am now. But if it just seemed like one of those. It seems like one of those seasons where you could turn around now and think, oh, we could have got a treble. We could have been that confident. I'm not saying that we would have went out and been completely undefeated and completely wiped everybody away and got a treble. I'm just saying this was the confidence that we were being allowed to kind of give out. They were playing that well. It's just disappointing to see them turning into this kind of almost lacklustre team of old that just gave up. Now, in all fairness, I will not sit here and completely batter Rangers and say that it was completely all their fault, because it wasn't. The reason we lost the game is because St Mirren played fantastically. They set up, they had their game plan, they had their shape, they had their style, and they stuck to it. St Mirren didn't give up any time. We did have a lot of the lion's share of possession, as I say, but St Mirren didn't give up. St Mirren played fantastically, and when it got to 2 each, you could probably see them being raging at the fact that they were down to 2 each. It came back to 2 each, sorry, not they were down. Head's gone, but I've missed getting to goal number 2 for Rangers, but I'll get back to that. But so getting to goal number 2 from Rangers, it was a free kick, and it was placed in the perfect position. If you were going to put it in the perfect position for James Tavernier to have a free kick, this is where you would have put the ball. And he did, he hit that ball perfectly, and it hit the post. It was uncharacteristic of him, and that shows you where the game was. Tav hitting the post with his free kick after hitting it so sweetly. It made its way out straight to Stephen Davis, bang, straight in the top bin, and it manages to get us back to 2 each. And my phone lit up with text messages saying, never doubted that we were coming back. And it's always a classic, isn't it? We're as fickle as anything as football supporters. But I did think after that we were going to take it into the extra time stage, and we were going to make through and we were going to do our best. But unfortunately, goal number 3 for St Mirren came. Now, it was a cracking cross ball, it really was. It came from a portion where Tav had the ball and the ball left them. I gave a touch on the ball and it went too much, and they managed to get through. And the minute that you seen him losing the ball and working his way down, you knew for a fact, I think this is going to be 3-2. So the ball swings over, and needless to say, Alan McGregor gets to that ball right in the low corner. You thought that was the shot that was going to be going in. McGregor manages to get to it, and wonder save it was. But the ball slipped out his hands. Again, not McGregor's fault, just the ball made its way back out. And I think it was McGrath again managed to tap that ball in and get it right into the roof of the net. Tap in for 3-2, and 4 minutes left in the extra time, and needless to say, we got nowhere. The only other real defining part of that game was we seen a red card for Jim Goodwin, and it looked as if he got red carded for celebrating, to be brutally honest. And I think it was probably a wee bit harsh, and I'd like to see that get rescinded, in all fairness, if that can be done. But yeah, finished 3-2 St Mirren. So in a kind of recap, I'm gonna get out there and say that yes, we played poor, St Mirren played well. A kind of perfect storm for the reason to lose the game. Looking at the players, Kemp seemed off it. Itten didn't really seem at the kind of races either. Zungu just seemed a wee bit too negative and playing the ball backwards. I need to see more from him. He's not really came onto his game yet, and I know young in it. I'm not exactly going to turn around and say that it's all Zungu's fault. His midfield work was garbage, because he's not a garbage football player. He's not bedded in just quite yet. Maybe this could lead back from Gerrard not picking the correct team, but again, as I said before, this team should be able to chop and change without worry. But We had a subpar performance from a handful of players. The rest of the players I am not going to turn around and say were subpar. All I will say is St Mirren were a lot better than what we expected them to be. One caveat I want to get into the video, and I want to make it abundantly clear that I am eating my own words here, and I do think we missed Alfredo Morelos' performance up front. I can probably hear you dropping all your cups of tea and coffee as you're watching this, thinking, how can he be defending Morelos? I'm not one for doing that this season. I'm probably one of his biggest critics. Am I going to turn around and say that he probably would have put the ball in the net 4 times and guaranteed us the win? Nope. But what I will say is his performance up front that he's been doing, that we're overlooking, me included, me majorly to be fair, that performance that he's putting in that we're overlooking, you can see that missing tonight, you really can. Now, Itten being off the boil kind of shows it more, but Morelos not having that hold-up play and that coming to collect the ball and giving everyone else a chance to get in behind to get the goals. This is why we're seeing other people scoring. Yep, 100% missed it. I hold my hands up and tell you right now that if Morelos was on the park, it would have been a different game. 100%. Now, that there is enough for me to say that, yeah, I think we're going to need to look into Alfie and get when he gets back and make sure that we're not as harsh on him. Putting the ball in the net is a big deal. We need to make sure he's doing that, and we can still be harsh on that, but we can't forget the other side of his game, because clearly it is a big part, and as much as I've said it's not, it clearly is. But before I let this video run on far too long, and I know it's too long as it is to be fair, but I will go into just a quick drop into man of the match, and unbelievably it's not a Rangers player. I'm going to have to give it to either Connolly or McGrath, and to be fair, I'll let them share it, doesn't matter to me. St Mirren players played outstanding, fair play to the boys, congratulations. And I'm going to go goal of the game, I'm going to give it to Golson, because let's face it, centre half shouldn't be scoring goals like that, so fair play. Could have went to Stephen Davis to be fair. The other 2 goals for St Mirren, 3 goals, sorry, tell a lie. 3 goals for St Mirren weren't exactly overly special, but I'm definitely going to give it to Golson, so well played on that. Well guys, it's the first game we've lost in 27, and it's the first game I've lost since I started doing this, and apologies for the negative style of video, but just because we lose doesn't mean I'm not going to put something out there. So once again, let's pick up, move on. Motherwell next in the league. Let's make sure the priority sticks where it needs to stick. We need to make sure 3 points always in the bag. Yes, we wanted to win trophies. That being the first one really is a big blow, and it's really kicking me in the arse not to shout and scream a wee bit more, but I'm being level-headed about it. We do have this chance to keep progressing now. We have less games, can we put it that way, even though there'll be, what, 2 more? Less games to worry about, but let's move on. Motherwell again, away on Saturday. Focus on that, 3 points, let's bring it home. So thanks again for sticking around guys. I know it's been a kind of negative video, but we'll move on to the next one, it'll be a wee bit more positive. But thanks again for everybody that supports the channel, and I've been every other Saturday, and I'll see you on the next one.